And we will go ahead to talk about what kind of moves are we expected today, especially with regards to the international market cues that we are getting. Let's quickly take a look at what kind of closing did we see in the Indian markets yesterday. Now, remember, we had a muted start right after the global indices indicated a muted start for the Indian markets. We did, there was a volatile session. We were also saw about 500 points of cut. But towards the last 1.5 hours, we had actually seen a sharp recovery in the markets as well. And now after that, if you see, the markets recovered most of their lows and the Sensex ended with just a marginal loss of 0.17%. That's a loss of about 90 points. 49,771 for the Sensex was the closing level. When you talk about the Nifty 50, 14,736. That was what the Nifty's level was at closing, with just a marginal loss of 8 odd points. That's absolutely flat with a negative bias. Now, when we talk about the Nifty Bank thereof, now remember, we had actually inched up much closer to the 33,000 level, but there was again some bit of recovery over there. But still, it underperformed the markets yesterday. Most of the pain was actually seen in the big financials, large cap banks, all of these stocks really losing in trade yesterday. 1.5 points gone and there for the Nifty Bank yesterday. But the broader markets did outperform the markets. There was a 1% gain that we actually saw for the BSE Mid Cap Index, and the Small Cap Index also rose by about 0.7%. Let's take a look at how the international cues are placed for the Indian markets today. So there's an all green screen as far as the US markets are concerned. There was an outperformance from the Nasdaq that we saw. Most of the stocks from the technology space did see a bounce back as the US bond yields and the treasury yield also cooled off from the 14-month high that was seen in the last week. So definitely all of them pushed up as well, especially stocks like Tesla, which really jumped in the overnight trading session as well. So that's something that really helped the Nasdaq jump by 1.2% in trade. S&P also has snapped its 2 days losing streak to end in the green, and 0.7% of an uptick was seen on S&P 500, 3940. Dow Jones also, if you see, ended with 0.3% of gains in the overnight session of the US market trade. Moving on to see how the Asian markets are taking cues from there. So the Asian markets are mixed at the moment. The losses are seen in the Shanghai index with 0.7% of a loss, 1% gone for the Hang Seng as well. But what's holding up is the Japanese index Nikkei 225 with 0.2% of gain right now. Now, remember, in the early morning trade of Asian markets, the markets were fairly green, but there's some bit of nervousness really creeping in as far as the Hang Seng Shanghai is concerned. Let's see how the SGX Nifty is placed then. Remember, in the early morning trade, we did see the SGX Nifty was up in the green, indicating a positive start, but now it's slipping into the red. 0.10% gone for the SGX Nifty, 14,700. That's what we are seeing. So a muted start, a subdued beginning is what we can really expect for today's Indian markets opening session as well for today. Moving on to the money market check. So remember that the rupee was inching up against the dollar yesterday. 72.37 against the dollar is what it is trading at, and it is still likely to behave in a range as far as the expert views go. Moving on to the crude oil markets, there's a mixed trade happening there. 1.2% gone for the Brent crude, $63.84 to the barrel. The WTI crude, however, is still in the green with gains of about 0.2%. Now remember, the oil markets are kind of steadying, and that is on the back of the rising COVID-19 cases and subdued demand that is actually coming in. So people are again reducing their travels because of the rise in COVID-19 cases. So we may be able to just have to watch where the oil prices really go from here. It is trying to steady itself in a trading session today. Moving on to the stocks that you need to keep an eye out on. Let's start off with the oil and gas major. BPCL, 1.5% gain was seen yesterday. Now the board has approved the scheme of amalgamation of natural gas firm Bharat Gas Resources with the company. So some bit of a positive reaction can be actually expected on this stock right after the news as well. Moving on to another stock that you need to watch out for, Jubilant Ingrevia. Now this stock was actually locked in upper circuit of 5% yesterday. Remember, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, the ace investor, has said that persons acting in his concert have purchased over 3 lakh equity shares in Jubilant Ingrevia. That has now taken his equity share into the company over about 6.3 odd percent or 6.4 odd percent for this company. Remember, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala had already received about 6% kind of equity shares in this company before. Now, let's move on to see which is the other stock that you need to watch out for. Kac International, that is the stock that you need to keep in your mind. 1.6% gone for that index or that stock in yesterday's trading session. Now, the company has actually secured a new order worth about 1429 crore rupees, and that is across its various businesses. So, again, a positive news. You may see some reversal coming in for that stock based on this news in today's trading session. Maruti Suzuki, it was trading subdued at about 7,103 rupees in yesterday's trading session. Now, the company has increased the vehicle prices with effect from April 2021, and that is due to the increase in various input costs as well. So that may actually be some kind of good news coming in for the company. You may see the stock also, rise in today's trading session on the back of this news too. Moving on to the stock recommendations of the day. There are 6 recommendations that we've got with which you can start your trading day with profits. Nilesh Jha has recommended a buy on Nestle, the FMCG stock major. The target price that he's given on the stock is 17,100 rupees. The stop loss you need to keep on the stock would be 16,150. Again, a 1% gain was actually seen in yesterday's trading session, and some more gains can actually be expected today too. Moving on to Tech Mahindra, the mid-cap IT firm that rose about 2.38% in yesterday's trading session. 1,040 is the target that he is recommending on the stock with a stop loss of 998 rupees. आगे बढ़ते हैं तो देखते हैं कि फार्मा स्पेस से उनका कहां पर नजर है। तो नीलेश का मानना है कि बायोकॉन पर आप खरीदारी करके चल सकते हैं। टारगेट प्राइस आप 418 रुपए का रख सकते हैं और 393 का आप स्टॉप लॉस लगाकर चले। कल के सेशन में हमने 1.5% तक के गेंस बायोकॉन के स्टॉक में देखे थे। सूर्य रोशनी, रोहित सिंगरे का मानना है कि यहां पर आप खरीदारी करके चल सकते हैं। ऑलरेडी एक स्ट्रॉन्ग मूव हमने कल के ट्रेडिंग सेशन में देखा था, 7% तक का जोरदार जंप दिखा था। यहां पर टारगेट प्राइस आपको 405 का दिया गया है ऊपर में, वहीं 387 के आसपास का आप स्टॉप लॉस लगाकर चल सकते हैं। वेल्सपन इंडिया, ये एक और स्टॉक है जहां पर उनकी खरीदारी की ही राय है रोहित सिंगरे की। टारगेट प्राइस यहां पर ऊपर में 89 to 95 के रेंज में दिया है। जो स्टॉप लॉस दिया है वो 79 रुपीज का दिया है। 1% तक के आसपास की तेजी हमने कल के सेशन में देखी थी। आखिरी स्टॉक जो रोहित सिंगरे बता रहे हैं वो है ICICI प्रूडेंशियल का। ऑलमोस्ट 2% तक की बढ़त कल के सेशन में दिखी। 445 के टारगेट्स आप लगाकर चल सकते हैं। खरीदने की राय है करंट लेवल्स पर। 432 का आप स्टॉप लॉस लगाकर चल सकते हैं ICICI प्रू में। तो 6 स्टॉक्स आपकी किटी में आ चुके हैं मार्केट खुलने से पहले। अगर आज के सेशन के लिए ट्रेडर्स ढूंढ रहे हैं कोई भी मौके खरीदारी के, तो डेफिनेटली इन स्टॉक रिकमेंडेशंस पर आप नजर डाल सकते हैं। हालांकि अपने फाइनेंशियल एडवाइजर से जरूर बात कीजिए किसी भी स्टॉक पे पोजीशन लेने से पहले। चलिए इसी के साथ इस खास शो को यहीं समेटते हैं, लेकिन लगातार मार्केट के ओपनिंग एक्शन और साथ ही और कवरेज जारी रहेगा, तो बने रहिए मनी 9 के साथ।